He's big, he's wooden, and he makes one thing perfectly clear: he is Groot. Marvel's talking tree has taken the world by storm, despite his minimal vocabulary. But few know his story in its entirety. From the alien Aberrist to the terrifying termites, this is Groot's backstory. Movie-going audiences across the galaxy know him as a hero, but believe it or not, Groot began his career on the comic book page as a bad guy. He made his debut in 1960's Tales to Astonish issue 13, where he was billed as the monster from Planet X. And like a lot of the baddies in Marvel's monster comics, he initially meets an ironic end. When he lands on Earth, Groot encounters a biologist named Leslie Evans, whose study focus is bugs. He might seem outclassed by a giant talking tree and his army of fellow Flora Colossi, but he winds up being humanity's secret weapon. Despite being a seemingly invulnerable giant bent on conquering Earth, Groot is still made of wood, and winds up being laid low by one of the most destructive forces on the planet: termites. After that, he descended into the same kind of obscurity as a lot of the other monsters with names like Rambu or Moomba who took up shelf space in Marvel's pre-superhero monster comics. He would reappear occasionally and encountered the Hulk in 1976 alongside 5 other Marvel monsters. Groot in particular is defeated when the Hulk beats him to splinters with a couple of rocks. Effective, but significantly less clever than termites. Beyond that, his best-known appearance came in an issue of Sensational Spider-Man, when he was the subject of one of Peter Parker's nightmares. That makes sense too, for a born and bred New Yorker who needs skyscrapers to swing from. What would be scarier than a big old tree? Groot has had a few diversions on his journey from monstrous antagonist to heroic movie star. As you might expect, it's a gnarled, branching backstory with its roots in some pretty weird comics. You might be surprised to learn that he was actually once an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., as revealed in the pages of 2006's Nick Fury's Howling Commandos. In this story, the Howling Commandos are a group of monstrous villains constructed by Fury to fight their fellow forces of evil. Fury uses his recruitment pitch on a version of Groot that still has his pre-Guardians evil tendencies and convinces him to join his elite team of cryptids, myths, and monsters. His compatriots include Bigfoot, Frankenstein, a vampire, a werewolf, and a man trapped in a gorilla's body, among others. Together, they team up with the son of Satan and save Earth from an attack by Merlin, the wizard from Camelot. Now that's a story we'd like to see make its way to the MCU. Another weird adventure that was every bit as strange as his stint in the Howling Commandos came when Groot and Rocket encountered Venom.
I am Venom.
Yes, that Venom. Spider-Man's brain-eating former costume turned villain from beyond the stars. In 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy issue 21 found Groot taken over by the symbiote. Fortunately, Drax tears the pair apart before it can really bond with Groot, never getting beyond the surface. It seems that this time, Venom was all bark. Despite being vast and infinite, Marvel's version of outer space is actually a pretty small world. It was really only a matter of time before Groot had a run-in with the Kree, one of Marvel's most prominent alien empires. They're powerful, militaristic, and don't tend to take things lightly. So naturally, our favorite wooden misfit clashes with their worldview. The Annihilation Conquest storyline that kickstarted Groot's ascent to popularity finds the Kree in the midst of yet another universe-spanning war, this time against a robotic hive mind called the Phalanx. When the time comes for the Kree to recruit a shaggy space pirate and give him a team of also-rans to stop a galactic apocalypse, they pull Groot out of space jail and throw him into battle with some other D-list Marvel obscurities that might seem a little more familiar these days than they were in 2007. Peter Quill, Drax, Rocket Raccoon, and Gamora. Groot's years of languishing in obscurity were pretty unremarkable, but as Marvel has shown us time and time again, even the most obscure weirdo on their roster is only one story away from being a superstar. For Groot, that happened in 2007, when he was brought back to Annihilation Conquest as a member of a team of misfits that would evolve into the Guardians of the Galaxy. Rather than a world-conquering monster, Groot was reimagined as a more empathetic hero with a smaller vocabulary.
I'm Groot.
Yeah, you said that.
According to the 2013 Guardians of the Galaxy comic, Groot comes from a noble branch of the family, destined for great power and position. Sadly, he is not a match for the culture of Planet X and its rulers, the Arbor Masters, disagreeing with their tendency towards kidnapping and experimenting on other sentient creatures. Ultimately, Groot is exiled when he defends one of the maintenance mammals looked down upon by his brethren and their masters. Thus begins his journey throughout space, and ultimately to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Groot and Rocket Raccoon had instant chemistry with each other once they were on the same team, becoming fast friends. As alluded to in the films, Rocket is the result of a bleak program of animal experimentation, and Groot, whose heart has always been moved by the plight of the powerless, takes a liking to Rocket immediately. Of course, it helps that Rocket, unlike most sentient creatures, can understand his speech. Rocket Raccoon takes his role as Groot's best friend seriously. More than once, he's rescued Groot after the tree creature was killed. Since Groot can be regrown from small slivers, Rocket will often collect a small shard of his fallen friend and replant him, caring for him until he's grown. In this sense, the furry friend is a little like Planet X's Arbor Masters, but unlike them, he loves Groot for who he is, and considers his compassion an asset instead of a liability. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about Marvel characters are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.